Hi guys, this is Mr. Tan, and today we're looking at business research. And again, we're going to be reviewing aspects of qualitative data and qualitative data collection techniques in terms of thematic methods and grounded theory. So we're going to be looking at thematic analysis and grounded theory, an interpretive phenomenological analysis, and we're going to look at discourse analysis as well. So on completion of this module, we're looking at assessing and applying techniques and processes used to investigate, an important strategic or organizational issue or problem. Okay, plan and propose a research project. Critically analyze a business problem using both practitioner and academic material. So we're going to be looking at qualitative methods of data collection and reviewing thematic analysis, grounded theory, interpretive phenomenological analysis, and discourse analysis as well. So what is thematic analysis, TA? It's a method for analyzing and reporting patterns, themes within qualitative data. And this is going to be important for you to try and analyze the qualitative data, because there may be no fixed questions or fixed answers, and there may be loads of random answers but not specific to any theme. So in order to try and get a theme and then to allow you to code it to kind of get some statistical data, it's a good method for those new to qualitative research. Provides many key skills required for other qual analysis. But like any method, it can be done well or poorly. Very widely used but rarely acknowledged analytical method, thematic analysis. Often poorly reported. The data were subjected to qualitative analysis for recurring themes. Confusingly, sometimes also called thematic content analysis, or qualitative content analysis, or content analysis. And so, various authors have developed systematic but flexible guidelines to thematic analysis. Thematic analysis generates themes, patterns within the data, and then within those patterns, if you get patterns, it allows you to code the data, and by coding the data, you can get some kind of statistical relevance to the coding of that specific theme coming up again and again. Often regarded as fundamental qualitative method. So what is a theme? A theme is a pattern of responses within a data that represents a meaning. Should be a number of instances to constitute a theme. However, number of instances does not signify importance of the theme. Okay, keenness of a theme for answering our research question is what counts. So also the judgment of the researcher determines what a theme is. So procedure for thematic analysis. Step 1, familiarizing yourself with the data. Step 2, generating the initial codes. Step 3, searching for themes. Step 4, reviewing themes. Step 5, defining and naming themes. And step 6, producing the report. So, going back into the procedure, familiarization, transcribe the data if necessary, reread the data, note down initial ideas, and then coding. The goal here is to organize large amounts of data into manageable chunks. Identify features of the data that appear interesting or important in relation to the research question that is coming up again and again. It is preparing the way for more intense analysis. Should be thorough and systematic, and it should be inclusive as possible. So an example of coding, for instance, a data extract, um, is too much like hard work. I mean, how much paper have you got to sign to change a flipping name? I mean, I know we all have to go through it about it half-heartedly and thoroughly, but I just can't be bothered. It's too much like hard work. So that is a data abstract, and then it can be coded in terms of, one, talked about with partner, and two, too much hassle to change name. So talked about with partner and too much hassle. So again, you're coding, and then you're saying with this kind of theme, the data extract, how many times has this occurred again and again and again, and then you can get some meaning to it. So try and have a go with this. So Jake and I were discussing about the decades of technological advancement. Suddenly, our lifestyle has changed and it's had an impact on society now. Kate, I think modern technology allows you to be lazy as well as don't have to do things yourself. You can get machines and stuff to do all those things for you. Mabel, it's easy to buy food on the way home, like takeaway or a meal out, then go home and start cooking if you finish work at 9 o'clock. Kate, yeah, if people are working hard, they want something quick, which tends to be unhealthy. Procedure for thematic analysis again, searching for themes, cluster codes, cluster codes together. Reorganize the data so that all coded data is collected under provisional theme headings. So, you may have a theme heading and then you reorganize that data under those theme headings, and then you can organize codes for those. Reviewing themes, check if the theme capture, what is in the data. Themes might, be collapsed into each other if there is too much overlap, or dropped altogether if there is a lack of data to support a theme. Defining and naming themes. Identify what the essence of each theme is about, and then you need to consider the story that each theme tells and how it fits into the overall story of the analysis. So names, should be concise and give a sense of what the theme is about. And then 6, producing the report. So introduce each theme and describe its content using a narrative account. Select vivid, compelling extracts to illustrate claims made about the data. So an example here by Pio et al. 2007, self-monitoring of blood glucose in type 2 diabetes. The aim was to explore views of patients with type 2 diabetes about self-monitoring of blood glucose. There were 18 patients with type 2 diabetes interviewed repeatedly. The results were 3 themes. So the first theme was theme 1, the role of the health professionals. And, this was the behavior of health professionals influence participants' views of self-monitoring. For example, stopped self-monitoring because nobody ever looks at it. Advantages and disadvantages of thematic. It's flexible. Process can be applied across a variety of epilogies. Better suited to large data sets than IPA or DA. Particularly applicable to research questions regarding people's views, attitudes, and beliefs. And limited interpretive powers unless combined with a theoretic approach. And so we've looked at that. Now we're looking at grounded theory. So grounded theory, originally developed in America, sociology, aims to generate theory which is grounded in the data. And there's a constant comparison, say, central analytic technique. I mean, grounded theory refers to a set of kind of systematic inductive methods, for conducting qualitative research aimed towards theory development. I mean, the term, grounded theory denotes a due referrals in terms of, a method consisting of flexible methodology strategies and, products of the type of inquiry. Increasingly, researchers use these to term the mean and the methods of inquiry for collecting and particularly analyzing the data. So when we think about it, is the methodological strategies of grounded theory are aimed to construct, the middle level theories directly from data analysis. Okay. So the inductive theoretical thrust of these methods is central to the topic. I mean, the resulting analysis build the power for, strong empirical foundations, and the analysis provide focused abstract conceptual theories that explain, the studied empirical phenomena. So when we look at grounded theory, it has considerable significance because it provides explicit sequential guidelines for conducting qualitative research. I mean, it offers, specific strategies for handling the analytical phases of inquiry, and also it streamlines and integrates data collection and analysis, as well as advancing, conceptual analysis of qualitative data. So, again, another aspect of qualitative data and data analysis and data gathering and analysis, which is very, very important, especially within qualitative data. So, I mean, again, grounded theory strives to develop a theoretical understanding of the social or psychological process that are grounded in the data. As we said before, it's primarily an inductive approach. Starts with the detail of individual cases to develop theory, based on a symbolic interactionism, meaning it is derived from social interaction, and humans act towards things based on these meanings. So, what do we mean by theory in GT? Substantive, mid-range theory rather than ground theory. Develop an understanding of phenomena or processes in terms of its own context. Typically involves uncovering social processes. So the key characteristics of ground theory, so it provides guidelines for the whole research process and not just the analysis. Simultaneously, data collection and analysis. And ground theory is a cyclical process. You're collecting data, and analyze data, and collect some more data. Key concepts in ground theory. It's a delayed literature review. Researcher avoids being theoretically primed with the ideas from the literature. So, rather than looking at the literature primed in terms of the theory, it might suggest you or lead you in a certain way. And so, the data could, if you do it the other way round, where you're not looking at the literature review first and the theory and what's written, then you kind of have your own views in terms of the themes and where things are going in terms of the data collection, data analysis. But if you kind of do it the other way around, look at the literature review, it can maybe bias you in terms of determining certain themes within the data obtained. So theoretical sampling. Participants are selected to further explore the researcher's developing ideas from the data. And theoretical saturation. Stop collecting data when no new details or properties are emerging. So the process of analysis in ground theory, it's open coding, codes for actions, processes rather than themes or topics. Theoretical coding, a code category is developed, and all other categories are related to it. So the important thing here is open coding. As we said before, the code for actions, processes. So you're coding the process rather than the themes or topic areas. It's constant comparison, the central analytical technique, comparing case to case, instant to instant, concept to concept. It avoids oversimplification of theory generated. And theoretical memo writing, record of researchers' thoughts, ideas and reflections made throughout the analysis, and may be used to define categories identified. Compare cases, reflect on relationships between categories. There are different variations and versions of ground theory, including the division between Glaser and Strauss, based off qualitative research. Glaser said that he claimed that it was not ground theory but a different method entirely. And then other authors have proposed a constructive approach to ground theory. Adopting a constructive or grounded theory approach, the researcher can move grounded theory methods further into the realm of interpretive social science without assuming the existence of a on-dimensional external reality. Again, if we look at various authors, identifies a number of features that all grounded theories have. So we're looking at simultaneous collection and data analysis, the creation of analytic codes and categories developed from data and not by pre-existing conceptualizations, discovery of basic social processes in the data. So we're looking at coding for processes, inductive construction of abstract categories, theoretical sampling to refine categories, writing analytical memos as the stage between coding and writing, and the integration of categories into a theoretical framework. Some of the advantages and disadvantages of ground theory goes beyond identifying and describing themes to examine processes. Provides systematic guidelines for all aspects of the research process. And it has been criticized though for producing common sense theories, how things appear to participants. Interpretative phenomenological analysis aims to understand lived experience, acknowledges that researchers must interpret what participants tell us, and is an ideographic approach. Disclosure analysis. Language itself is the focus of the inquiry, examines different ways of talking about a topic, and language is viewed as an action orientated. We do things with language. Mixed method research, a precursor to quantitative research, helps in the question of design, used after quantitative research to provide additional explanatory information, used to triangulate findings, and qualitative research's mixed method designs often takes a realistic approach. So there's an activity here. So in summary, we've kind of looked at qualitative research encompasses a wide range of methods and approaches to research, tends to collect rich, descriptive and less structured data, and it's interested in how people understand, make sense and experience the world. Takes a range of epileptical assumptions and can be used to complement quantitative data. So thank you today from Mr. Tan.